So have I experienced anything that I cannot explain away? Well, yes would be the answer to that one. I've witnessed many things that I cannot explain away. The most predominant experience would have to be when I've had interaction with my grandparents. So what happened is that I went down to Bodmin Jail on a charity ghost hunt for children in need, took 9 people down with me. Also we had a medium, so there was 10 of us in total. Now at the start of the evening we did like a recce during the lit period of the night, and I got drawn to this one area. Now this one area is where inmates were kept with respiratory issues, and I thought there was something about this one area that I got drawn to, and this mannequin, the name of the inmate was Willoughby, and my granddad's name was Willoughby. He sadly passed away when I was just 8 years of age in 1981 of lung cancer. So I thought it was just, you know, nothing paranormal or anything connected with my granddad. I just thought it was sheer coincidence. A bit later on in the evening we did these sort of lone vigils, like Scooby-Doo type vigils, and went off on my own, and I ended up in this same spot. And given the fact it was on 4 levels and it's a huge premise, it was just a bit odd that I should get drawn to this area again. But I didn't really sort of read too much into that, and with that we continued with the evening, and towards the latter part of the night we decided to do some glass divination. Now glass divination is basically where you bring people to the table, typically 4 people, 1 at each edge, put your finger lightly on a glass, and from there you ask out questions. So medium asked out some questions, and he asked, is anybody there, with which there was a positive response, and then he asked whether he wanted to interact with anyone at the table. No movement. So he said, well, do you want to interact with somebody outside the table? And it went to me. So he said, just to be sure, you want to interact with myself? And yeah, came towards me again. So I gave the camcorder to one of the ladies in the group, and I went to the table and I proceeded to ask out questions. Now I was asked to ask questions out aloud and also in my own mind. Now I must admit that I didn't really truly believe in glass divination, even though I was a believer of the paranormal and of ghosts, etc. But I was somewhat wary. Now, just to do a sidetrack to this, my mum and I were in our home in Somerset, and this is the previous Christmas. There was a picture of my nan and granddad. We had some of their old decorations in our conservatory area, and we were talking about them, and then all of a sudden this jingle bells started to play, and you have to actually pull it down to actually make it play, but it suddenly just started playing when we were talking about them, and we both looked at each other and we didn't say a word, but we knew what we were thinking, and I didn't want to upset my mum. So with that, another piece of information that you really need to hear is my nan and granddad's home in Wiltshire. This young family moved in. Now it was a husband and wife, and also their daughters, and her daughter was adamant that something was in the home. So she described the lady as being called Audrey, brown curly hair, and also a blue flowing dress, and it was all quite sort of close to the knuckle, so to speak. Anyway, going back to the divination, I asked out questions, and the questions were bang on. You know, if I asked something in my mind, the glass would move, and also if I didn't ask a positive question, then it wouldn't move. It was just really odd. So I asked, do you regret smoking? And yes, it was a positive response to that. Was that either yourself or Nan that made the bell move? Yes. Can you give us a sign? next Christmas, and you know, with that, I thought I went out of the venue with a really warm sort of feeling. It was, I can't explain it. I wasn't upset, but certainly it did give me inspiration that my nan and granddad were there. So anyway, Christmas came that year, and I wasn't at my home in Somerset, and I was sort of a little disappointed that I wasn't going to be here to experience something, hopefully with interaction with my nan and granddad. What happened from there is I was over in Bath at my fiance's home, and she sort of said to me, you know, Nick, how's your granddad or your nan going to be able to come through? And with that I said, well, I'm not at home, so I didn't, you know, I was pretty downbeat and pretty gutted. So anyway, fiance went out of the room to prepare some tea, and with that, this huge spiral light flew across the room and out of the door, and I couldn't believe what I'd seen. And I sort of looked around, looked at the Christmas tree to see if there was any rational explanation. No. Went out to tell my fiance. We came back in and the light had been switched off. So to this day, I cannot rationalise or explain any of that, and I truly do believe that they're here as I say this.